Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sir, we're ready. Mr. Rubio is in the bunch. He can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Buenas tardes a todos.
This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Esta es su comparecencia de primera instancia ante el Tribunal del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner, and I am a judge in this court.
Mi nombre es Brad Garner y yo soy uno de los jueces de este tribunal.
I am not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
Yo no estoy acá para tener un juicio en su caso o para aceptar una declaración a cargos.
I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you.
Yo estoy acá para informarle de cuáles son los cargos que se han imputados en su contra.
To advise you of certain rights,
Para informarle de ciertos derechos,
to set bail on those offenses that I am authorized to set bail,
para fijarle fianza para esos delitos que se me permite fijarle fianza,
to schedule a preliminary hearing,
para programarle una audiencia preliminar
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
y para determinar si usted va a requerir la asistencia de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing,
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio y no decir nada,
but should you give up this right, anything you say during these proceedings may be used against you.
pero si usted renuncia a este derecho, cualquier cosa que usted diga durante este proceso podría ser usado en su contra,
If your case goes to trial,
si su caso va a juicio.
so please don't discuss the facts of your case.
O sea que por favor no discuta los hechos de su caso.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights.
Durante este y todos los otros procesos, usted tiene los siguientes derechos:
The right to the presumption of innocence,
el derecho a la presunción de inocencia,
the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies,
el derecho a que se le formule una acusación por el gran jurado para la mayoría de los delitos graves,
or by accusation for misdemeanors,
o de que se le formule una acusación para los delitos menores,
the right to a speedy and public trial by jury,
el derecho de tener un juicio público rápido y por jurado,
the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
el derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados para testificar en su contra,
the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
el derecho de hacer que testigos vengan a testificar a su favor,
the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense,
el derecho de testificar a su favor y de presentar pruebas para ser usadas en su defensa,
the right to have an attorney represent you.
el derecho de tener un abogado para que los represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Y si usted no puede contratarse un abogado, le podrían nombrar uno si usted califica.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release.
A alguno de ustedes se le va a permitir pagar fianza sin restricciones para que puedan salir.
These bonds may be cash, commercial, or property.
Estas fianzas pueden ser en efectivo, comercial o usando una propiedad.
If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office.
Si usted quiere pagar su fianza en efectivo, alguien tiene que llevar la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo, más las tarifas adicionales a la comisaría.
The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of your case.
La comisaría se quedaría con este dinero y se lo reembolsaría al final de su caso.
If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to that company for their service.
Si usted usa una compañía fiancista, alguien tendría que pagar una tarifa a esta compañía por sus servicios.
The fee will not be returned.
Y esta tarifa no le sería reembolsada.
I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond.
Yo no sé cuál sería la tarifa que le van a cobrar, pero generalmente es un porcentaje de la fianza.
Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property will need to have a net equity in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond.
Y finalmente, si usted usa la equidad para pagar la fianza, la propiedad tendría que tener una equidad que sea hasta 3 veces en total la cantidad total de su fianza.
Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places.
Algunos de ustedes van a tener condiciones especiales en su fianza, donde se le prohíbe ponerse en contacto con ciertas personas o de que vaya a ciertos lugares.
This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form.
Y estas condiciones especiales se le van a dar a usted en un documento por separado.
You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail.
Y también se le va a prohibir que usted se ponga en contacto con la víctima mientras usted esté encarcelado.
If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you could remain in jail until your trial.
Si usted infringe, o sea, usted quebranta la orden del juez, su fianza sería revocada y usted podría tener que continuar encarcelado hasta que llegue su juicio.
You could also receive additional felony charges.
Y también le podrían poner cargos adicionales por delito grave.
It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond.
Es importante que sepa que si una persona está nombrada como víctima en su caso, a esa persona no se le va a permitir pagar la fianza por usted.
Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail.
Algunos de ustedes se le imputan cargos por los cuales por ley a este juez no se le permite fijarle fianza.
In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date.
Y en este caso, se programaría una audiencia para pedir fianza ante un juez del Tribunal Superior y a usted se le va a informar la fecha.
If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time.
Si actualmente usted está bajo libertad condicional activa, a este juez no se le permite fijarle fianza en estos momentos.
Whether bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest.
Cuando la fianza sea apropiada, el juez lo tomaría en cuenta en el momento que su agente de probatoria ha tomado en consideración que usted ha sido arrestado nuevamente.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you.
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar es determinar si hay suficientes alegaciones para proceder con los cargos en su contra.
The standard at this stage is very low.
Y los estándares en esta etapa son muy bajos.
A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred.
Y lo que el juez tiene que determinar en esta etapa es solamente que existe la posibilidad de que el delito ocurrió.
Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing.
Y todos tienen la capacidad de poder renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar.
However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing.
Sin embargo, usted debe de hablar con un abogado primero antes de que usted pueda decidir y si usted no está seguro si renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar o no.
If you postpone, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived.
Si usted paga su fianza, su audiencia preliminar se cancela automáticamente.
You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date.
Y usted va a recibir una notificación en la dirección que usted suministre de cuándo va a ser su próxima audiencia preliminar.
At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to raise your right hand and I'm going to swear you in.
En estos momentos Yo le voy a pedir a todos que levanten su mano derecha para ser juramentados.
Do you swear or affirm any testimony that you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
¿Jura usted y afirma que cualquier testimonio que usted dé en este proceso va a ser la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad, lo jura ante Dios?
Okay, I'm ready, Deputy Knox.
Okay, one moment, sir.
Is this Mr. Rubio?
¿Es usted el señor Rubio?
Deputy Knox.
Hold
yeah.
on one second, Judge Gardner. One more. No, actually, you could get started with Mr. Rubio. You're fine. You can go on. This is Mr. Rubio.
Okay. Mr. Rubio, did you understand everything that I just said through the interpreter?
Señor Rubio, ¿entendió usted todo lo que yo acabo de decir
Sí.
mediante la intérprete? Yes.
Okay, Mr. Rubio, let me pull your form out. Mr. Rubio, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery.
Señor Rubio, usted se le acusa de un cargo de agresión corporal simple
I've set the bond in your case at $2,000.
y yo le fijé una fianza en su caso de $2,000.
Do you believe that you can post this bond, sir?
¿Cree usted que va a poder pagar su fianza, señor?
Sí,
Yes.
Mr. Rubio, would you like for me to determine whether you qualify for an attorney?
Señor Rubio, ¿quiere usted que yo determine si usted califica para que le nombren un abogado de oficio?
para quitarme los cargos. Sí, está bien.
To have the charges dismissed? Yes, that's fine.
To represent you moving forward on these charges.
Para representarlo de aquí en adelante con estos cargos.
Bien. Sí.
Okay. It looks like you qualify, Mr. Rubio. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Tal parece que usted califica, señor Rubio. Yo le voy a nombrar un abogado para que lo represente.
Gracias.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, as I indicated earlier, you have the right to waive a preliminary hearing if you want, if you're uncertain at this point as to whether to waive the preliminary hearing or not. I guess I should stop for a second.
Como yo le dije anteriormente, usted tiene la opción de renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar, pero si usted no está seguro.
No entiendo eso, rechazar la audiencia preliminar.
¿Perdón?
Porque yo tengo entendido que mi señora quitó los cargos. Ella no puso cargos.
From what I understand, the lady, she had the charges dismissed.
Not at this point.
No en estos momentos.
No.
So what I'll do, Mr. Rubio, is I will set this preliminary hearing date for February 16th at 8:30 in the morning.
Señor Rubio, yo lo que voy a hacer es que le voy a fijar su audiencia preliminar para el 16 de febrero a las 8:30 de la mañana.
It's important to know that if you bond out, this date will be waived automatically.
Es importante saber que si usted sale bajo fianza, esa audiencia se cancela automáticamente.
Do you have any questions of me, sir?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí, señor?
No, que supuestamente ya está pagada la fianza, o sea que ya.
No, possibly the bond has already been paid.
Okay. Then once this paperwork is completed, the sheriff's office will allow you to leave once the bond is paid.
Ok, entonces tan pronto se termine de procesar la documentación, la comisaría lo pondría en libertad tan pronto se pague la fianza.
Sí, supuestamente ella ya la pagó.
Yes, supposedly she already paid.
Okay. Any other questions, sir?
Ok, ¿alguna otra pregunta, señor?
No, muchas gracias.
No, thank you very much.
You're free to go.
Se puede retirar.
All of them? So you know alphabetical, right? What's the accent? Let the women out, man. All right, come on. George, you ready for the females?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, come on. Halloween, Rose. Rose.
And with that, Judge, may I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. It was good to meet you. Have a good day.
Very nice meeting you too. Thank you.
Rose. DeAndre.
Are we ready to keep going?
Dixon, Jamila.
Are you Miss Alwine?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you've been charged with 2 offenses, violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act and the use or possession of drug-related objects. I'm setting your bond at $5,000 for the drug charge and $1,500 for the use of possession or drug-related objects charge. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Would you like for me to determine if you qualify for the appointment of an attorney?
Yes, please.
Okay, ma'am, it looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. As I indicated before, well, in this particular case, with this felony charge, I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for December 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any questions about your charges, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. Good afternoon. Are you Ms. Culver? Ms. Culver, you've been charged with 3 offenses, and they all have bonds that are automatically set by what's called schedule. So for the expired tag charge, the bond is going to be $500. For the possession of marijuana less than an ounce charge, the bond is going to be $1,500. And for the open container dollars to bring you a total bond of $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like for me to determine whether you qualify for a lawyer?
Yes, please.
It looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, as I indicated before, you have a right to a preliminary hearing as long as you're in custody. But when you bond out, the preliminary hearing date will be waived. Do you want to waive the preliminary hearing? Do you want me to set the preliminary hearing? Or do you want to wait to speak to your lawyer about whether you should waive the hearing or not?
I would like to speak to a lawyer.
Okay, I'm going to set it for February 16th at 8:30 a.m. And as I indicated before, if you bond out on this charge, that hearing date is going to be automatically waived. Do you understand that? Okay, do you have any other questions for me?
No, sir, thank you.
I'm sorry?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you Miss Dixon?
I am.
Ms. Dixon, you have 3 offenses also, and they are offenses that have been set by bond schedule. For the driving on suspended license charge, your bond is going to be set at $1,500. For the decal not displayed charge, bond is set at $500. And for the failure to yield charge, the bond is also set at $500, which brings your total bond to $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
I can.
Okay. Would you like for me to determine whether you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. All right, it looks like you do qualify, ma'am. I am going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. As I indicated before, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, but that's going to be waived if you post a bond in this case. Would you like for me to set a preliminary hearing? Do you want to waive the preliminary hearing?
I probably more likely waive it anyway, rather I have the attorney or not.
Okay, so I'll just mark that you're going to waive it, okay?
Okay.
All right, you got any other questions for me?
I don't.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're Miss Gray?
No.
Ms. Gray's one that we had held for last.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. Are you Miss Harris?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Harris, you've been charged with 2 offenses, simple battery and criminal trespass. I'm going to set the bond at $1,500 for the simple battery and at $500 for the criminal trespass. Do you believe you'll be able to post that bond, ma'am?
No.
Okay. I noticed in the arrest affidavit, it listed your age at 17. Are you 17?
Yes.
And this incident involved your brother?
Yes.
Do you live in the same home with your brother?
No.
Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the simple battery charge at the bond at $500 also. That'll bring you a total bond of $1,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No.
Okay, well, would you like for me to determine whether you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it does look like you qualify. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I'm also going to set your preliminary hearing date for February 16th. Since you said you don't believe that you can post this bond. I'm going to note on this form that you are 17 years old. This will go over to the lawyers today. And hopefully you could speak to them soon and see if they could try to meet with the state court about these charges. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
Do I qualify for a signature bond?
Under Chief Judge Wright Hill, we are not allowing those OR bonds at this time, so I can't allow that. But I would encourage you to speak to the lawyer, because a lawyer can possibly either get the solicitor's office in state court to agree to a lower bond, or they can either talk to them about these charges. Okay? Any other questions?
Do I have to stay in jail until my court date?
Sorry, February 16th at 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be a Zoom call also.
I have to stay in jail until then?
Your lawyer can get you out earlier. At this point, my job is simply to set a bond, set your court date, and to see if you qualify for a lawyer.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am. Are you Miss Jones?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You've been charged with 4 offenses. One is interference with government property. I've set a bond at $2,000 for that. Obstructing an officer, I've set a bond at $1,500 for that. And there are 2 driving under the influence charges. One is DUI, drugs less safe, and the other one is DUI, marijuana, or controlled substance. The bonds for those are automatically set. So you have a bond for both of those charges at $1,507. So that brings your total bond to $6,514. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of an attorney?
Yes, sir.
You do qualify, ma'am, so I am going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. There's a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set. Give me 1 second. It's going to be set for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any questions of me about the charges?
Yes, sir. About the bond, you said you could pay 10% of it. You said that?
Well, it's bonding companies, they charge a fee and it's generally a percentage of the bond. There are a number of bonding companies that have been approved by the Sheriff's Department, and you can call them and tell them your charges, and they'll tell you exactly what fee that they'll charge.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, you're free to go back. me one second. Are you Miss Nally?
Yes, sir.
Miss Nally, you've been charged with 3 offenses. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, use or possession of drug-related objects, and defective equipment charge. I've set your bond the same as Miss Alwine. It's going to be $5,000 for the drug charge, $1,500 for the use of possession of drug-related objects charge, and $500 for the defective equipment, for a total bond of $7,000. So you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Sir, if at all possible, if you could bring it down, I can post it probably.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Speak up.
I said, if you could bring it down just a little bit, I could probably post it, if at all possible.
Well, one of the reasons that I set the bond the way that it has is it seems like you had an extensive, at least arrest record. So I'm gonna leave it at that amount. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, it looks like you do qualify, ma'am, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. And you're gonna have the same preliminary hearing date as Ms. Alwine. It's gonna be February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's gonna be a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any other questions for me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. You are Ms. Pender?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Pender, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I'm gonna set the bond for that charge at $1,500. You believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Sure.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
It looks like you do qualify, ma'am. So I will appoint a lawyer to represent you. You have the right to have a preliminary hearing, but that right to a preliminary hearing is automatically waived once you post bond. Do you want to waive the preliminary hearing? You want to have the preliminary hearing, or do you want to wait to speak to a lawyer?
Let's wait, speak to the lawyer.
Okay, I'm gonna set it for February 16th at 8:30 a.m. And as I indicated before, once you bond out, that hearing will be automatically waived and you will receive notice later. Do you have any questions of me about your charges?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
You are Miss Robinson?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Robinson, you've been charged with criminal trespass, damage to property. The bond is going to be set at $1,500. You believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe, you said yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. As I indicated before, you have a right to a preliminary hearing. That right is waived upon bonding out. Do you want me to set the hearing date? Do you want to waive the hearing date? Or do you want to wait to speak to a lawyer?
I want to wait to speak to a lawyer.
Okay, I'm going to set it for February 16th at 8:30 a.m. And that's also going to be a Zoom hearing. But as I indicated before, If you bond out, that hearing date is going to be automatically waived, okay? Do you have any questions for me?
And you said my bond is 1,500, and
Yes.
I wanted to know if I can about a restraining order.
That process is one where you have to get what's called a either temporary protective order or a stalking order. And right now, because of the way that the COVID situation is set up, my understanding is that you can either apply for that over a Zoom call at home if you have that ability, or you can go to the main headquarters of the police department, and they have computers set up where you can also have that or go through that process. But you would have to make an appointment, and you can do that through going to the county's website.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back. You are Miss White.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, Miss White, you've been charged with 1 count of driving on a suspended license and 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Both of those offenses are set by schedule at $1,500 each, which brings you a total bond of $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. White, it looks like you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. As I've indicated before, you have a right to a preliminary hearing. That right is waived upon bonding out. You can waive it right now, or I can set it right now, or you can speak to a lawyer about whether you want to waive.
I'll waive it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to indicate that you want to waive it, and I've appointed a lawyer. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am? Okay, you're free to go back.
Can I shout?
Stand directly in front of the computer. Keep your mask on at all times. Cover your mouth.
Mr. Alwine, sir, you've been charged with 2 offenses: violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act and use or possession of drug-related objects. Your criminal history indicated that you were still on probation, so I cannot set a bond on the drug charge at this point. I did set a bond of $1,500 on the use or possession of drug-related objects charge. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sure.
I'm sorry?
I didn't hear you.
I said, would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I guess if you want to. Yeah. I'm sure where I'm gonna need one. I don't know what to do. On the line street.
Okay. It looks like you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, so I am going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I've also set a preliminary hearing date for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be a Zoom hearing also. And I'm setting a bond hearing date for February 26th at 8:30 a.m. Now, the reason I couldn't set a bond, as I indicated before, is at this point, for people who are on probation, I'm not allowed to set a bond at the first hearing. If your probation officer says, look, I don't mind, I don't care about it, you can be reconsidered for bond, and a bond can be set. So it's not that a bond will not be set, it's just I cannot set a bond by law at this stage.
I understand that, but when would I be able to talk to my probation officer?
Well,
I've not seen or heard from the woman in a long, very long time. They transferred my probation from like one place to another here in Clayton County, you know, to the Forest Park. And I've never even got to meet or anything about any of the people there. And then, you know, the pandemic thing had, you know, stuff messed up here and there. So I never really knew what to do or who to meet or anything like that. You know, so, I mean.
okay, the paperwork for the appointment of a lawyer is going to go over to the law office today. If I were you, I would try to get in contact with someone from the probation office or someone from the public defender's office. I've set a bond for Miss Alwan, so she'll be able to get out, and maybe she can assist in that. Okay.
Out there, that's my wife. I don't have nobody out there to do nothing for me.
Okay.
To be honest with you, nobody.
Well, the lawyer will probably be able to help you. The way that those charges were written, they charged everyone in the vehicle with essentially the same thing. So the lawyer will be able to tell you about potential defenses to that. Okay. Any other questions, sir?
Well, can I say this? Can I ask you this? They charged everybody with that because one individual wouldn't take that. And
Right. Right.
if one individual did, would that move my wife out of the picture?
What you should do is speak to the lawyer about that. I understand what you're saying. At this stage, I can't make those kind of value judgments. I have to treat it as if it could have belonged to any one of you. But there are defenses to that you should be able to talk to your lawyer about.
Well, I know what the police was trying to do in the first place. You know, they're just trying to get. Anyway, okay, thank you. I mean.
Okay. Any other questions, sir? Okay. You're free to go back.
Yes, sir.
You're Mr. Bowman?
Burdette.
I'm sorry, Burdette?
Burdette.
So Mr. Bowman is one that we had for last. Bowman and Brown.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Burdette. You've been charged with one count of simple battery. I've set the bond at $5,000 for that offense. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've also put a stay away condition on the bond to stay away from Yvonne Burdette.
I actually live there.
That's the problem. Whenever there's a battery charge or simple battery charge and both people live in the same house, we put a stay away condition on the bond because we don't want, you to go back home and this starts all over again, that condition can be removed. I cannot remove it at this stage. What I could do is I could see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. And that lawyer is the person that could get that condition removed.
I didn't hit her. She put her hand up toward my face, and all I did was move her hand back. That's all I done. I didn't grab her. I didn't touch her. I didn't hit her.
And the problem, Mr. Burdett, is at this stage, I have to go upon what was written at the time by the officer. You do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I can appoint a lawyer for you that can assist in either getting these charges dismissed or, you know, getting the condition off. But
here until I'd have to sit here until the charges are dismissed.
no, you can post a bond. You can
Right.
post a bond and get out today.
I can't go home.
Not at this stage. What you can do is make arrangements with the sheriff's department to get some stuff so that you can continue living your life. As I indicated before, because of the charge and how it's written up, my hands are pretty much tied as to putting the stay away condition on. It's your mother, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's my yes, sir. It's my mother.
If your mother were to voluntarily leave, you could stay there. We just can't have you two in the same space until this condition is lifted.
I mean, not even if both of us agree that there's no problem.
Well, see, the problem, unfortunately, is that the police got called out to your house. And I don't know what was going on. All I know is what is written here. And that's what I'm responding to. If this was a mistake or this was something that got blown out of control, your mother can speak to the lawyer and that condition could be lifted.
I was removing somebody's hand out of my face. My mom came out to the police car last night and said she didn't want to press charges. I want to know how was the charges pressed if my mother didn't want to press charges?
It said on here that the officer observed a bruise or a break on her skin.
She has very thin skin from lupus, and you barely touch her skin, and it literally peels. It's not a forceful act.
And that's something, again, that all of that can get worked out, but I can't try your case right now.
I mean, I understand that.
You qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I can appoint a lawyer that can deal with this.
Thank you.
Okay. And I will set a preliminary hearing date for February 16th. That date will get automatically waived when you bond out. As I was telling the other gentleman, this paperwork goes over to the lawyers today, so they'll get it. This is something based upon what you're saying. If all of that is true, this can get handled.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
No, when do I get my phone call? I haven't had a phone call since I've been here.
When you go back down, that's when that'll happen. We don't do like the internal movement with the sheriff's department, but I do know that they will allow you to have a phone call when you go back down.
Okay.
I just can't tell you it's going to be at 3 o'clock or whatever, but they will allow you to have a phone call.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just get my mom to call the bond out, and I tell her, how does she know what lawyer to talk to?
The law firm that represents people charged with misdemeanors is Lister and Holt.
Lister and Holt.
Yes. She can call over there and she can let them know. And if she wants to say, you know, it didn't happen or whatever, I'm sure they'd be very interested in hearing that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Lister and Holt.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back. Hi, are you Mr. Brown?
Camera.
I'm sorry?
Create camera.
Brown is one of the ones. Brown is one of the ones that we're doing last.
I'm sorry. I keep doing that.
No problem.
Put this over to the side. All right. Give me 1 second, Mr. Cameron. All right, sir, you've been charged with 2 offenses: giving a false name, or address, or date of birth in violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. I've set your bond at $2,500 for the false name and $7,500 for the drug charge, which gives you a total bond of $10,000. Do you believe you can post that, sir?
Oh, that'll be like $1,000, sir.
Roughly, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Good. Looks like you do qualify, sir. So I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Yes, sir.
I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom call also. Do you have any questions about your bond or the charges?
I was just asking if I bond out, that preliminary hearing will be thrown off on February 22nd, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. You're free to go back.
All right, thank you. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Carter? Mr. Carter, you've been charged with 4 offenses: improper lane change, tenant window violation, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and use or possession of drug-related objects. The improper lane change, that is set by schedule at $500. The bond for that is set by schedule at $500. The tenant window violation, the bond is also set by schedule at $500. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce, the bond is set by schedule at $1,500. And I've set a bond of $1,500 for the use or possession of drug-related objects. It brings your total bond amount to $4,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir? I'm sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay, it looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, because these are all misdemeanors, if you bond out, your preliminary hearing is going to be waived automatically. You can either waive that now, I can set that, and then it'll get waived when you bond out. Or if you're uncertain, I can set it and you can speak to your lawyer about whether you want to keep that date or not.
I believe I'll be bonding out, so if you can waive it and I'll get the new one after.
Okay, I'm going to mark that you're asking to waive. Do you have any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
If I do manage to get my own lawyer, it wouldn't be a problem?
No.
All right. That's about it. That's my only question.
Okay, you're free to go back.
You have a nice day, Your Honor.
You too.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. You're Mr. Gresham?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Gresham, you've been charged with one count of battery family violence. I'm setting the bond for that offense at $5,000. I'm also putting a stay away condition on your bond to stay away from Jennifer McMillan and Paul Owen. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sure.
I'm sorry?
Sure. Yes. Yes.
How much do you make per month, sir?
About 4,000.
You said 4,000? I'm going to find that you qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? Do you want to have your preliminary hearing? Or do you want to wait to speak to a lawyer as to whether you want to waive it?
I would like to speak to a lawyer.
I'm sorry?
To a lawyer, so.
Okay. So I'm going to set the preliminary hearing date for February 16th. And as I indicated before, for these misdemeanor offenses, you bond out, that hearing date is going to automatically be waived. If you don't bond out, you can speak to your lawyer about it, and the lawyer will make a determination along with you as to whether you want to waive that hearing date or not. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
All right.
You're Mr. Lamas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lamas, you've been arrested on what's called a fugitive from justice bond. And what that means is that there's a warrant for your arrest out of Texas, and they have indicated that they will extradite you. There's a script that I have to read to you, and it's for discussing your right to an extradition hearing. So listen closely. All of the rights of which I advised everyone earlier applies to your case, but your appearance before this court is a little different. You do not have criminal charges pending against you here in Clayton County. You have been brought before the court today because you have charges pending against you in another state, and that state is requesting your return to answer those charges. You're being charged with being a fugitive from the state of Texas, where you are wanted for the offense of, it says, dangerous drugs.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dangerous drugs. Does it explain what dangerous drugs? Does it explain what they were doing when they came to talk to me? I'm sorry, it's because I feel like you can't see me. I feel like my eyes are like, you know what I'm saying? Lamas.
Lamas?
Yeah, I feel like my eyes are like not there. There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Speak loud.
Can you does it say what dangerous drugs or
No.
why they came up to talk to me on private property?
No, it has a warrant number. that's from Texas, and it says W0626923340 is the warrant number. So let me finish reading to you this script, and then you can ask me whatever question you want to ask, okay? It says, you may contest extradition or you may waive extradition and voluntarily return to the other state without going through the formal extradition process.
Yes, thank you. Can I do that? Yes, very much that.
Okay, let me finish. Let me finish.
So exciting. Like, I thought I was gonna be sick here. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, no, very much that. Yeah.
If you decide to contest extradition, you will be committed to the Clayton County Jail for an initial period of 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
During this time, let me finish, Mr. Lamas. During this time, a warrant will be prepared under the governor's signature for your extradition to Texas. The court may consider allowing you to post a bond, but the court is not required to do so. I'm not allowed to give you a bond at this time. If you do not wish to voluntarily return to Texas, you may file a petition for a writ of habeas corpus to contest the extradition. This petition may only contest 4 things: whether the extradition documents are in order on their face, whether you are charged with a crime that actually exists in the demanding state, whether you are the person named in the request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive from justice. You cannot contest the issue of your guilt or innocence in this state. You are entitled to the advice of counsel in contesting extradition or in deciding whether to waive extradition. Although there is no automatic right to appointed counsel, if the state is unable to extradite you within 30 days, you may be committed to the jail for an additional 60 days awaiting extradition. If the extradition is not completed within 90 days, then you will be released. You may waive the extradition process and voluntarily return to Texas. The court cannot tell you when to expect Dallas, Texas, they said where it's from, to come for you, as a number of factors affected timing. So the first question I have to ask is, are you in fact Emmanuel Alexander Lamas?
I am in fact Emmanuel Alexander Lamas.
Do you already have an attorney representing you in this matter?
I do not have an attorney, and I very much just forgot about this. I'm very much an addict.
Okay.
And
now,
I just forgot this shit happened, honestly. And when
Did you just curse?
No, I did not just curse. I said I very much just forgot this happened.
That's not what you said. Listen, just go and talk to the judge. Talk to the judge.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now you've already answered this question, but I gotta ask it anyway.
Okay.
Do you wish to contest extradition or waive formal extradition and voluntarily return to Texas to answer charges against you?
I just like to voluntarily return to Texas, but will it take 30 days for real?
Like I said before, the 30-day period was if you were just saying, no, I'm not going.
Oh, no, I will go.
Listen to me.
Sorry, I will go.
Judge Gardner.
Yes.
Would you like to do Mr. Lamas last?
No, let me finish because I'm almost done. We can get him out of here.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, Mr. Lamas, is I'm going to have the extradition paperwork prepared. You're going to have to sign it. Texas will be notified since they've already said they want to extradite you. So then they will make the arrangements to come get you. Okay?
And you have no idea how long that will take?
No.
No.
No idea. Because they've been telling me they're coming for me since like 2 days ago.
Okay. So I'm telling you, the faster I get this stuff done, the faster you get out of the jail. So.
For sure. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there any way I can like, no, right? I have to get back over there and talk to them about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you could just get me back to Dallas ASAP, Mundo, thank you very much.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Over there. Go on to 6. Tell him your name, please.
My name is Charles Mims, sir.
Mr. Mims, you've been charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in 3rd degree. I've set the bond at $10,000 on the battery charge and $5,000 on the cruelty to children and the third degree. And I've also put a stay away condition on your bond to stay away from Shunda Aaliyah Carr. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
It looks like you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I'm also going to set a preliminary hearing date in your case for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any questions about your charges?
No, sir. I just, the exact amount of the bond is 15,000.
Yes, sir. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Come on, sir. Come on. So what should we?
Me, I'm sure I missed.
When it opens up, the circle, the face of it.
Here, Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Moore, you've been charged with fleeing from a police officer, trafficking in marijuana, violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and violation of Controlled Substance Act. I've set bond at $1,500 for the fleeing, but at this point, I'm denying bond on the other three charges. I'm setting a bond hearing date for this. It's going to be set for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And I'm setting that same date for your co-defendant.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much from the time I got here, none of this was really explained to me. And then when I did everything today, I saw the charges on the paper. And it's just a lot with that I don't understand, because none of this is stuff that they said to me. And then, like, even with the fleeing, I don't understand why they would say that I'm fleeing, and I was literally parked. We were on the side of the road.
Uh-huh.
We were in 4 different vehicles just sitting on the side of the road, and we were getting ready to follow another car. So when the police came, they came in like several cars, and then I thought that they were like trying to go past me. So I edged up to move over, and that's when they came in front of me, but it wasn't, an attempt to flee or everything. I couldn't even go anywhere because it was already another car in front of me, cars in back of me. And I guess they put it in the paperwork that I was fleeing. And then with everything else that's on there, they never even told me that that was part of the issue. And I asked, like I said, I saw it on paper when I got my paperwork, but other than that, I hadn't heard anything about any of that. So I was really hoping to get bond so that I could talk to an attorney to really have him go over this. I've never had any offenses. I've never been in any trouble. And it's just wild. It's really.
I did see that you had a pretty light criminal history. I think, most people, I see their criminal history is like 37 pages. I think yours are just 4 pages. The thing that is factoring to my decision to deny bond is just the weight of this marijuana. And so the way that they've charged it, I think this is something that should be looked at. Now, it looks like you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. If you want me to, I can appoint a lawyer now, or if you want to, if it's your decision to hire your own lawyer, you can do that.
If an appointment was, if I had you put me with the lawyer now, is that something that I would be able to immediately speak about, like getting a bond that was sooner than the date that you have set?
To be honest with you, I don't know how long it's gonna take. I haven't dealt with them yet. I just got on the bench this year, this week. So I can't answer that question truthfully for you. What I can tell you is that this paperwork goes over to them today if I were to appoint you to represent them, for them to represent you, so that they would at least know about you. Now, and then you can try to call and speak to someone, but I can't answer that question for you. I would be guessing.
Very difficult to try to operate out here. I reached out to my family to get somebody because I saw this. I'm really basically just asking if there is any exception you could make or anything that I could do to comply with anything you need to get bond. I mean, like you said, I've never been in trouble. It's just uncommon for me, so I'm trying to be able to properly maneuver. And I mean, I don't even live here, but I have so many other things that, I mean, I know it's not your problem, but it's just everything falls by the wayside in life. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but there were several groups of other people with us that were all actually helping to do the move. And for whatever reason, they took us out of those groups.
What I'll do, you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. So I will appoint a lawyer to represent you. If you choose to hire your own lawyer, you can. But that'll at least give you the opportunity to speak to someone as quickly as possible about your case. And I've also set a bond hearing date for February 26th. And so, do you have any other questions for me?
I guess that was what I was asking. If I taken an appointed attorney, is there anything that he would be able to do to get a hearing sooner, or you're not sure?
I'm not sure, but I know that they could communicate with the district attorney's office about this case. I do know the district attorney's office is meeting with the lawyers far in advance. I think their goal is at least 6 weeks before hearing date to have already spoken to the lawyer. So that's the information that I know. Okay, any other questions?
I guess that's it.
Okay, you're free to go back.
I have your name, sir.
My name is Kennedy Nicholas.
Okay. Mr. Nicholas, you've been charged with 2 offenses, driving on a suspended license and failing to yield at a stop sign. The bond for both of these offenses is set by schedule. The failure to yield charges, the bond is $500. The driving on a suspended license charge, the bond is $1,500 for a total bond of $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
2,000, yes.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of an attorney?
Yes, sir.
It looks like you do qualify, so I am going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Okay.
These are misdemeanor offenses, which means that if you bond out, the preliminary hearing will be waived. You can waive that now. I can set it, or I can set it and you can speak to a lawyer and determine whether you want to waive it. Which do you want to do?
Can I actually wanted to bond out. I wanted to, because I have a job. And
okay, this doesn't impact your ability to bond out. So
you're talking about the
preliminary hearing.
Yes, yes.
Right. I found that you qualify, so I'm appointing a lawyer to represent you. So you can waive the preliminary hearing if that's what you want to do, or I can set it down and it'll get automatically waived when you bond out.
I'll go with the first choice.
You want to waive it? How about this? What I'll do, Mr. Nicholas, is I'm gonna set it. And if you bond out, it's gonna get waived, but you're still gonna have a lawyer, okay? Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you very much.
Right there. Just stay right there. Tell him your name.
Look on the Thompson.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, you've been charged with one offense of criminal trespass. The bond is going to be set at $2,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Sir, I was wondering how is it criminal trespassing when I'm a tenant at their house? I have bills that go to their house. I have cars that's under their address. My car insurance for my cars is under their house too.
Okay, so in Georgia, criminal trespass can happen in two ways. The way that they're saying that it happened in this case is they're saying you broke the back window out of your sister's car. If you were to damage somebody's property and it's less than $500, Georgia calls that criminal trespass.
Yes, I was attacked by one of my sister friends. They ran up on our property, tried to attack me. My sister let him attack me. I had to defend myself any type of way. As he was attacking me, one of his friends jumped out the backseat of his vehicle and tried to run towards me too. So I was fearful of my life. I didn't know if he had a gun or his friend had a gun. And my sister let them do this, so I didn't know what to think. I blanked out when I hit the window. I wasn't in my body. I blanked out. And I have bruises on my face, knots on my head from my sister. I can't walk right now because of my sister.
What I could do, Mr. Thompson, it looks like you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I can appoint a lawyer for you, and that lawyer will be the person that will handle that. I can't try your case at this point, meaning I can't decide whether something did happen or didn't happen. All I have to do at this stage is to determine whether it possibly could have happened. And so I hear what you're saying. That's what we would call a defense to the charges. And that's where your lawyer comes into play.
Yes, because I wanted to also get the information of the young man who approached me too. For future references, when I do get out, I don't know what's his intentions. If he approached me like that on my property.
What you need to do is speak to your lawyer about that, because there's nothing in your paperwork about who that person is.
It's in the other people's statements. It's in my statement that I wrote.
Then your lawyer will be able to get that information.
So will I be able to find out?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for this as February 16th. And as I've told everyone before, when you bond out, that hearing date is going to be automatically waived. But talk to your lawyer about everything that you just talked to me, and your lawyer will be able to help you, okay?
I'll talk to him about all my injuries.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
One moment, okay, Judge Gardner? Yeah, the gentleman's in a wheelchair next to. One moment. He's going. Hold on. Judge Gardner, hold on one moment.
Okay.
Tell him your name.
Sylvan Bernard Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, you've been charged with 4 offenses. One is identity fraud. The bond is going to be set at $2,000 for that. There's a drug charge.
What's wrong with you? You're gonna be in it. Come up.
Possession of cocaine. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that. Use or possession of drug-related object. The bond is going to be set at $1,500 for that. And like a suspended registration, and the bond is automatically set at $1,000 for that. So that brings you to a total bond of $9,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
No, sir.
You said no?
No, sir. No.
Be still. Be still.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
It looks like you do qualify, Mr. Taylor. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Okay.
I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 24th at 8:30 a.m. That's a Zoom hearing also. And I'm also setting a bond hearing date for February 26th at 8:30 a.m. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Hold on, hold on. Where Mr. Vasquez? Yes, now you're back. Stand up straight. Come up here.
What's your name, sir?
Vicente Vasquez.
Mr. Vasquez, today is your lucky day. The charges are going to be dismissed because the officer did not name a victim. Just names the victim as your mother, and they're supposed to name who the person is. Now, that will allow you to possibly go back home if that's where you are staying. I hope this process is one that you don't want to repeat ever again in your life. So you're free to go.
All right, thank you, sir. You have a great one.
You too.
God bless.
Around the other way.
Shadarian Watts.
Mr. Vasquez, stay right there. Mr. Vasquez, stay right there.
Mr. Watts, you've been charged with theft by receiving stolen property, a motor vehicle, fleeing from a police officer, striking a fixed object, and obstructing an officer. The bond is going to be set at $20,000 on the theft by receiving stolen vehicle count, $5,000 on the fleeing from a police officer, $1,500 for striking a fixed object, and $2,000 for obstructing an officer, for a total bond of $28,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
It looks like you qualify, Mr. Watts. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I also have set a preliminary hearing date in this case. And that's going to be set for February 24th at 8:30 in the morning. That's a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yes, sir. I was wondering what was the total amount of that bond? 28,000?
28,000, yes, sir. 28,500.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay, any other questions?
So,
Okay, you're free to go back.
thank you, Your Honor. Benjamin Walker, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker, you've been charged with 4 offenses, and all of these offenses are set by schedule, meaning the bond amounts are automatically set. The concealing the ID of a motor vehicle, that bond is set at $500. The no insurance bond is set at $1,000. The driving on a suspended license is set at $1,500. And driving on an expired tag is set at $500. The total bond amount is going to be $3,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Can I ask one question before I answer that?
Yep.
Anyway, is it anyway? Because like I say, sir, not to elaborate too long or nothing like that, sir, but is it any way that I can get a signature bond? Because I am working, and actually when I got arrested, that was like my second day on the job. And like I say, I'm staying at 2031 Brandon Road. My family been staying 45 years, sir. And I ain't been in no trouble in over 10 years, sir. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And my family is elderly. My mom is 75. My dad is 85. And I'm kind of like a caretaker for my family and stuff like that. And you know, if it in a way possible, sir, that I can get like a signature bond, I'll be at every court day, sir. You know what I'm saying? I just need, you know, some help for us getting out and getting back to my job. I don't know how long the process will take with this, but I know I'm willing to deal with it head on, sir. If I have opportunity, if you can just, you know, help me and give me, you know, and some kind of way, just help me out where I can just get out on signature bond, that'd be a blessing from God.
Well, Mr. Walker, Chief Judge, or Chief Magistrate Judge Wright Hill is not allowing us to set OR bonds, so I cannot set that. Which is what you're asking when you say a signature bond. It's also called an OR bond. I cannot set that. It does look like you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer, so I can appoint a lawyer to you if that's what you want.
Okay, and can I ask this? Is it in a way can we get the bond lower at least like 1,500 more?
These are set by schedule, as I indicated before, so they're already preset.
Okay, you said how much would be 3,000?
3,500.
Okay, I'll be able to make them. I mean, I call some people, some family members, or, you know what I'm saying, things like that, and just try to get the money up for it, sir. So that's, I think I'll be able to make that bond, sir.
Okay, would you like for me to see if you qualify? I mean, would you like for me to appoint a lawyer? I've already determined that you qualify.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you say like the preliminary hearing, is it any way we can do one this month? I mean, I know how they've been all on been set off like a month and a half, like to February and stuff.
And
like
the reason that is happening is because, as you know, with this virus, it shut a lot of stuff down and it backed a lot of things up. So these are the earliest dates that I can set.
Okay. And in the event that I can't make bonds, sir, what would be the process after that? In the event that I can't.
If you can't get a bond, your lawyer can petition the court. I mean, if you can't pay your bond, sorry, your lawyer can petition the court to lower the bond, or your lawyer may actually go to the state court and try to work your case out, or he may even get them to consent to a lower bond.
Okay, so is it any situation like, let's say if I be here for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or something like that, where they can say, okay, you did 3 weeks, that'll be time served for your traffic offenses?
They do that in state court. I mean,
Your lawyer can talk to the people in state court about that, and if they agree to it, they agree to it.
so even this is my last question. I know you get this now. Get out the way, sir. So by me having traffic offense, that's different. Like, what court is that in? That's not even in state court. That's just traffic court, right?
It's going to be state court. It's all of these are misdemeanors.
Okay. I thought it was just traffic tickets. Okay. Okay, sir. Well, I guess you said that it'd be 3,500, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have a nice day. You say you appointed me a lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Would they be able to come see me in the event that I don't have? Would they just make a scheduled visit to come see me in the event that I don't make one?
Yes. This paperwork goes over to them today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you have a nice day. Appreciate it.
So what's your last name?
Good day, Your Honor.
Hello. Are you Mr. Williams?
I'm Nicholas Willoughby.
Nicholas Willoughby. Okay, Mr. Willoughby, you've been charged with 4 offenses, fleeing from a police officer, set a bond at $1,500 for that. And you've also been charged with trafficking marijuana and 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of marijuana more than an ounce, and possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. As I told your co-defendant, because of the amount of marijuana that they have alleged, I am denying the bond at this point on those 3 offenses. You didn't fill the form out, so do you plan to? Jim Smith is your lawyer.
No, actually, he's not. But that was a lawyer I was thinking of going with. But my plan is to have a lawyer.
Okay.
And a statement to the investigation office. So
okay.
I wanted to make a statement at the initial arrest, but I wanted a attorney.
Talk to the lawyer first. I understand. Okay, what I've done is I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. I've set that date to go along with your co-defendant, so you both are on the same date, same hearing calendar. Talk to your lawyer. And I'm also going to set a bond hearing date for February 26th.
Hopefully that's my lucky day. So that's my son's birthday. I hope that's my lucky day.
I hope so. Do you have any questions, sir?
No questions. Be safe, sir. Thank you.
You're free to go back.
Judge Gardner?
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Benjamin Walker said he didn't get his preliminary hearing date. If you could just say that out loud, he can hear you.
Okay, it's February 16th at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, he's clear. Okay, Judge Gardner, now we're just standing by for those 4 people, unfortunately. We haven't brought up, and the other 2 young ladies are at medical. So if we could just stand by one moment. And in regards to Mr. Lamas's paperwork, fugitives just came over. And they said that they were going to take care of their part, and they were going to provide me the waiver of extradition documentation in a moment.
Okay.
I don't have his documents. All right, sir. I think so what we're going to do is when Mr. Davis comes, Austin Davis, then we could get started on that last group of people.
Okay.
Because Mr. Birch has to be escorted.
Okay.
No, please, sir.
I'm sorry.
Hold on one moment. All right, Judge Gardner, what we'll do is Mr. Austin Davis is here now. I'll pull out the last group of people that's here. and then you can do your next announcement, okay?
Okay.
People that are left are Mr. Birch, Ms. LaChance, and Ms. Gray, okay?
Okay. What about Christopher Williams?
Christopher Williams gonna be in that group. Remember I said there's a couple of more people. Remember I can only do 24 at a time.
Though, are those going to be the ones that were in the lockdown?
No, sir. Those are gonna.
I'm all confused.
Okay, it's all right, sir. Those are gonna be the ones in your next set of announcements. Remember I said we had to break it up into two.
Oh yes, yes. Okay.
Okay. One moment, sir.
Don't forget we got 24.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Judge Gardner.
Okay.
Okay, Judge Gardner, they're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I am authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you will have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own for evidence, the right to attorney represent you, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Can you still hear me okay? It was saying my connection was unstable.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail, which may be cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of the case. If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service. The fee will not be returned. I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond. Finally, if you use property to post a bond, The property will need to have net equity in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you could remain in jail until your trial. You could also receive additional felony charges. It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, should you speak to a lawyer first? However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. I'm going to ask each of you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm any testimony that you shall give in this proceeding shall be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay. Deputy Knox, give me 1 second. Literally 1 second. Hold on. Deputy Knox, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am. Are you ready to take them individually?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, one moment, sir.
Okay, tell me your name, sir. Oh.
So no. Put your face mask up. Put your face mask up.
I'm sorry.
Tell me your name.
Sanan Bowman.
Okay, Mr. Bowman, you've been charged with 3 offenses: use or possession of drug-related objects. I've set the bond at $1,500 for that. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce, the bond is set at $1,500 by schedule. And illegal parking in a handicap zone, bond is set at $500 by schedule for that. That brings your total bond to $3,500. So you believe you can post that bond, sir?
How much percentage wise? 10% or just the whole thing?
You can go through a commercial bonding company. Each one charges a different fee. You would have to call them and they tell you the fee that they would charge, but it's generally around that amount.
Total amount of $3,500?
No, it's generally around the percentage Okay, let me explain it this way.
Yes,
You
sir.
can pay the whole amount in cash if you have it. And that money goes to the sheriff's department. They give it back, all of it back when your case is over. If you don't have the amount, you can go through a bonding company and they'll charge you a fee. And the fee is generally a percentage. I don't know what they will charge you, but it's generally around that 10% number, okay?
So you right, yes, sir.
All right, do you believe you can post it, bond?
I have to make a phone call.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
A lawyer?
Yes, sir. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay, you're gonna hire your own lawyer?
Oh, no, I need an attorney. You're right, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't understand that question. I'm sorry.
Okay. You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna also set a preliminary hearing date for February 16th.
2021.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
At 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir. Not at all.
All right, you're free to go back.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. What's your name, sir?
Anthony Brown.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you've been charged with interference with government property. It indicated that you appeared to still be on probation.
Yes, sir.
I can't set a bond for that at this stage, but I can see if you qualify for a lawyer. Do you already have a lawyer in Clayton County?
I have a public defender for the charge that I'm in here for now. I go court on January 18th in Ms. Carter Court. Okay. January 18th at 8 o'clock for the probation violation and gram of meth ecstasy.
Okay, who's your public defender?
I have no idea, sir. She haven't come see me yet or nothing yet. I've been calling down there. I haven't no contact with her yet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make a notation that you have a hearing date January 18th
at 8 o'clock.
Judge Carter, and maybe they'll be able to work this case out then.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But I've already set a preliminary hearing date for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. just in case they don't deal with this then, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir. Is any way I can, like, you recommend me to a deputy to use the phone? Because where they got me in security, I can't use the phone or no contacts or nothing. But my family let them know nothing.
Okay, I can't direct the sheriff's department to do anything internally within the jail, but I'm certain at some point they will allow you to use the phone, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, you're free to go back.
Officer Davis, John.
Tell me your name again, sir.
Davis.
Austin Davis.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Mr. Davis, you've been charged with 1 count of burglary. I'm gonna set the bond at $10,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Sean.
Okay, I'm gonna find that you qualify, Mr. Davis, and I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I'm also setting a preliminary hearing date in this case. And it's gonna be set for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom hearing also. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Just one, Your Honor, if I end up making bond before the court date, would it have to have the same court date or would it be moved back?
It will stay the same, but it may get waived. I mean, you can speak to your lawyer about it, but it'll remain the same unless you waive it. Okay? Any other questions?
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mrs. Davis.
Tell me your name, sir.
Christopher Williams.
Mr. Williams, you've been charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. The bond for that is set by schedule at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for February 16th at 8:30 in the morning. That'll be by Zoom, but if you bond out, that hearing date is going to be waived automatically. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Go the other way. It's the same thing. Do you want me to copy of it? Judge Gardner?
Yes.
Okay, we're just standing by for Mr. Birch to be escorted up, and then I have to go down to medical for the 2 females, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna put you on mute for a minute. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
Okay.
Judge Gardner, this is Mr. Gunnar Birch, okay?
Okay. Mr. Birch, Deputy Knox.
Yes, sir.
Was Mr. Birch present for the reading? He wasn't present.
No, sir, he wasn't.
Okay, Mr. Birch, there's something I gotta advise you. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner and I'm a judge in this court. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case were to go to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you. You will have the ability to post an unrestricted bond for your release from jail. That bond may be cash, commercial, or property, and I'll explain that to you later. You're not going to have special conditions on your bond, so I'm not going to read that part to you. The probation part doesn't apply. For the purpose, let me say this. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. Would you raise your right hand for me, Mr. Birch? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay. Mr. Birch, you've been charged with one count of criminal trespass, and you're going to have a bond set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Okay.
Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, I'm going to find that you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm also going to set a preliminary hearing date for February 16th at 8:30 a.m. That'll be a Zoom hearing also. Just the same as this, like it'll be over a computer. I'm sorry? I can't understand what Mr. Birch is saying.
He said a pre-recommendation. A what? He would like a plea recommendation.
Okay. that doesn't happen at this stage, I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you, Mr. Birch. And that lawyer can contact the solicitor's office, which is state court, and they can work something out on your case.
He's not gonna let me go.
No, not right now. Okay, he understands, sir.
Okay.
All right, are you finished with him?
Yes, I am. You're free to go back.
All right, one moment, Judge Gardner.
Okay.
Okay, Judge Gardner.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disconnect for a moment because I have to go to medical, okay, sir?
Okay.
All right, sir. I'll log on in a moment.
Okay.
We'll be right with you.
Judge Gardner, this is
Hi.
Miss LaChance.
Miss LaChance, did you fill out a form?
No, sir, she didn't fill it out. Neither did Miss Gray.
Okay.
Yours is going to be empty because they're in medical. They're unable to fill it out at this time.
All right, cool.
Okay. I'm also having Courtney look for Mr. Davis and Mr.
Mr. Birch won't be able to fill. Okay, Mr. Birch won't be able to fill his out because he has mental health issues. I have both of their papers, and I have Mr. Davis fill his out. So I'm going to send you those 4. Okay, after we're done here.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Gray, she didn't hear the script.
This is Miss LaChance.
I'm sorry, Miss LaChance. So, Miss LaChance, I'm gonna have to read you something real quick. Deputy Knox is gonna send them over.
Okay.
Thank you for looking. I'm sorry, Miss LaChance. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case were to go to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you'll have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. You will have a bond in this case, and you'll be able to post that bond either by cash, commercial, or property. And I'll explain the varying ways that you can do that a little bit later. You will have a special condition on your bond, and that's going to be to stay away from Tanisha Reynolds. If you were to violate the court's order to stay away from Ms. Reynolds, your bond will be revoked, and you could remain in jail until your trial. I'll let you talk in a second, okay? You could also receive additional felony charges. It's important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. As I said before, you're gonna get a bond in this case. And let me explain the purpose of a preliminary hearing. And that is to determine whether there is enough evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at that stage is very low, and a judge determining whether a charge goes forward at that stage only has to determine whether it's possible that a crime occurred. You will have the ability to waive a right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. But in any event, you will receive notice at the address that you give of your next court date. So what was the question that you wanted to ask?
She says she can't speak, Judge Gardner.
Okay.
She said the charges being brought against her is false. She says she's an author. She just wrote her 3rd bestseller.
Okay.
She's telling you about the case.
Miss LaChance, let me stop you for a second.
Miss LaChance, hold on. All right, go on, Judge. Hold on, okay.
Miss LaChance, as I said before, at this point, I can only set a bond. I can appoint a lawyer if you need one. I cannot determine whether this happened or didn't happen.
Judge Gardner, can you?
I can barely, well, really, I can't hear her.
Oh, she's constantly talking about her bestseller. That's #1 on Amazon. She's talking about her book, sir. If you could just give her a court date and we can move to Ms. Gray.
Okay, Ms. LaChance, you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for February 16th at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you, and I've set a bond in your case at $5,000.
Just go, okay, go to Ms. Gray now.
Okay.
Okay. Judge Gardner.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disconnect one more time.
Okay.
Come back in because Ms. Gray's in another section, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hi, we're ready?
Okay, Judge Gardner, she can hear you, but she's not gonna be able to respond. So if she says anything, I'll have to repeat it for her, okay?
Okay. Ms. Gray, I got to read something to you, and then I'm going to tell you about the bond that's been set in your case.
Go talk again, Judge Gardner.
Okay. Ms. Gray, my name is Brad Gardner. I'm a judge in the Magistrate Court of Clayton County, and this is your first appearance. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case were to go to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. As I indicated before, you're going to have a bond in this case, and you may be able to make that bond either by cash, commercial, bonding company, or property. And I can explain those to you later. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice of your next court date at the address that you give to the jail. So, Ms. Gray, you've been charged with one count of theft by receiving stolen property. I've set the bond at $10,000. I've set a preliminary hearing date for February 22nd at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be a Zoom hearing like you have right now. I'm going to go ahead and appoint a lawyer to represent you. Deputy Knox is going to give you the paperwork to fill out, and she's going to send it over. Are there any questions about anything that I've said?
What's your question? What's your question? She wants to know if she can get a signature bar.
Okay, Chief.
She's sick right now.
Okay, Chief Judge Keisha Wright Hill is not allowing signature bonds, so I cannot give you a signature bond. Because of your sickness, I am appointing you a lawyer today. Because of your sickness, the lawyer may contact the district attorney's office and see if they will agree to a consent bond or a lower bond. But I cannot give you that signature bond at this stage.
Okay. She said, okay.
Okay. Make sure you get that paperwork to me as quickly as you can, please, Deputy Knox.
Yes, I will, sir.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.